Thank you for tuning in to the latest episode of the In Stride Podcast. This week, Alex and I talk about community in the type 1 diabetes space and how community can be a competitive advantage for all of us living with type 1 diabetes. No matter what your goal is or what you're looking to get out of it, community has helped both Alex and I in our type 1 diabetes journeys and lives, and that's what we talk about. We also introduce, I think I actually introduced this last week, but we talk about our Discord channel, which is now linked on our website. And I'm sure I'll be putting links in our social media descriptions as well. So join us on Discord at the In Stride T1D channel, and we'll keep talking type 1 diabetes there. If you're finding these podcasts interesting or useful, please drop us a like or a follow on any of our social media platforms and check out our website to learn more. We have moved away from Reddit and now we're on Discord, as I just talked about. Links are in the bio, descriptions, and on our website. So join us there and we'll keep talking. Thanks for listening. On to the episode. Welcome back to another episode of the In Stride Podcast. It's kind of doing my radio voice there, but here with Alex tonight, and we've got the topic of community specifically in the type 1 diabetes world and how meaningful and impactful and how it can be a competitive advantage for those of us living with type 1 diabetes and the people that we're in these communities with as well. Both Alex and I have pretty storied pasts with groups of athletes, non-athletes, all living with type 1 diabetes as well, and getting to be around these people and talk to them, learn from them, see what they're doing with their type 1 diabetes management, and then explain our side of what we're doing with it. Everyone has their own way of handling and managing type 1 diabetes, and learning about all the different nuances is it's fun, exciting, and extremely insightful for my own takeaway as well. And I can assume Alex's as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think what's really interesting about community is we all want to be part of communities, and that's no different in the diabetes space. And this applies to there's a reason we all join our local cycling club if you're a cyclist, right? Like you wanna be a part of a group with like-minded individuals, and community just elevates you in so many ways. And for me, getting involved with the diabetes community when I was a teenager was the thing that actually shifted my perspective on management. I was like that rebellious teen and didn't really care about it and thought it wasn't cool to have diabetes and blah 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 blah. Same old story that you hear from a lot of teenagers. Got hooked into the diabetes community and suddenly it was like, whoa, these guys are riding bikes. These guys have diabetes. Like, this is so cool. What can I learn from them? And over the decade and a half since, I've seen so many pop up, and whether the nonprofit that they started from still exists or not, and in this case, like 99% of them don't. The people from the community that got built, all are still connected in some way, and those are the kind of things that last. And I feel like it's the beyond just what the doctor says, like, oh, A1C has to be under 7, maintain perfect flat control, and do nothing else except for care for your diabetes so you live a long, healthy life. It's like, well, no, you can actually do way more stuff, and you learn that from a community.
Yeah, no, exactly. I would say I have a similar experience, but definitely a little bit later. I didn't really have any, like growing up in a small town in Texas, there were only a handful of other people I went to school with that had type 1 diabetes, and we got along great. Like we were I think we were like 2, 3, maybe 4 people total in like my whole high school that had type 1 diabetes, and we all were like, yo, what's up? And they're just like talking about diabetes stuff that no one else understood that we were going to school with. And like that was, I can say community in some sense, but I think it was still very, very small and narrow, just because like there was a small amount of people in it. But after high school was when I first started racing with team with all the athletes having type 1 diabetes, and really seeing that there were so many different ways to go about handling different things that happen, whether that's just eating, you're waking up, like the dawn phenomenon in the morning, the different stresses that you get throughout the day, whether they're exercise related or hormone related or just random stuff that happens, and how different people approached them, managed it, and figured out the correct way, or not correct way, but the best way for them to get the most predictable outcome out of it was huge for me, because that was like, it opened this whole new learning experience where like I was still pretty open-minded in this small Texas town, like relatively small community that I started from, and was always eager to learn, but just didn't really have access to like seeing different things because it wasn't there. And then you get out and start seeing that, and it really, really opens your eyes to just what could be done. And the answer is anything, for sure.
I think it's kind of interesting, right? Like a community doesn't have to be big, right? Like,
No.
in fact, and I have no idea. I'm sure there's somebody who's done some studies on these, right? Like that there's a too big of a community and maybe too small of a community, but right, like just because there's like 3 or 4 other kids in your high school that all get along, you still share that experience, which I think in high school is one of those, like, that's important, because like when I was in high school, there really weren't any other kids with type 1. There was a couple, but they weren't really in my social groups or anything like that. And so it was like, okay, kind of alone, don't want to be the uncool guy and all that. But I don't know. So no matter how big or small, just having people with that shared experience, like a small community, is also kind of cool, because it's more niche and nuanced then. But I was curious as you were going through, right? Like you're saying you were eager to learn and like grow from people that have those experiences beyond what you were getting in small town Texas. Like, what would you say is the biggest thing you learned from community?
That is a good question, and I was actually going to ask you this same question as well.
Man,
great.
We are like on the same page tonight.
we really are. It's impressive. So I would say it's really 2 things, and it's probably the bigger of the 2 things was in openness to understanding how stress affected my body, both for the diabetes and blood sugar management side, but also just like mentally, physically, everything else, and really seeing that it wasn't really linear in the way stress affected just my overall feeling and outcome. That was pretty big, and I don't know if that was necessarily derived from like seeing someone else do this, or just kind of the amalgamation of everyone else doing their own thing in their own way, and then like me kind of like taking a step back and seeing this and being like, oh, there's like, I'm looking at 16 different teammates here who have 16 different ways of doing essentially the same thing, and there's like, they're all more or less getting to the same end result, but the way they're getting there is all slightly different. And seeing that showed me that there's like different things affect everyone in different ways, and being able to understand that like really opened my mind to knowing that there is not a perfect way, and like understanding there isn't a perfect way like relieved a lot of stress off me from this very like my diabetes circle is very closed loop, or not closed loop, was very small. Like that was closed loop, like that we can forget that word even existed at that point because it didn't exist.
Diabetes Freudian slip.
Yeah, it was. But like my diabetes circle was me, my parents, my doctor, and like the handful of friends in, or like colleagues I went to school with. We didn't really talk about the like nuances of diabetes, more so the just like some of the growing pains of diabetes, like dealing with highs, dealing with lows, dealing with like injections, infusions, whatever you have to do. So yeah, going into this community was like really, really eye-opening from this like high-performing group of athletes, and all living with type 1 diabetes as well. Second one, sorry, I know I'm rambling here, but
well, I'll jump in real quick, and I'll let you know. Like, it seems like,
yeah.
and I have a similar experience, right? But there's always like a thread through something, right? Like here's the goal. There's a thread that takes you from like where you're at to where you want to go. And it can weave itself into 15 different patterns or 1,000 different patterns, right? And like that's the thing, I think what I'm hearing you say is like you were figuring out there's this common thread that everybody had, and then there's different ways you could approach it, which like is kind of cool because that gives you a broader scope of experience. Like, hey, there's this weird thing that just happened to me. Like, oh, but I remember so-and-so did this in a similar situation. Maybe that works for me. Just like get to trial and error, right? I don't know. I need to throw that analogy out before you continue this ramble.
Continue my ramble. No, and I think you're 100% correct. That is exactly what I was seeing. And that's what I took away from it as well. And I think that is the biggest thing I gleaned like first out of this community. And the second thing for sure was that the hardships and like the times when diabetes isn't fun happen to everyone. And coming from a small town, only knowing a handful of type 1 diabetics when I grew up, like having a very small diabetes circle, you can assume it happens, but you don't really know it happens. And then like seeing it happen, while it does suck to see someone going through like a severe hypo or their blood sugar's high for way too long, or they're just having a bad day with diabetes, seeing that happen to other people really like also took a lot of stress off me to know that, yeah, it's sometimes it just sucks, which is okay. But if you're good and like can accept that being really good with your control as much as you can is good, then that's the goal right there, right?
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting too, right? If we look at the current era with social media and influencers and all that, right? Like everybody's lives appear to be perfect. Right? I don't put stuff on social media that looks really stupid. I mean, I barely put stuff on social media to begin with, but like, I'm not gonna like just talk about how like crappy my day was on social media unless I like need to vent, which is a thing in itself. But like, so nobody sees those struggles. So I think that's another reason like these communities where people are actually having like open, engaged conversations are so important, right? Because if I only see how, if I'm stoked on my diabetes control, talking about how great I'm doing and all that, like that's exactly what I'm going to show you. It's like, check out my blood sugars. Today I was 94% in range, and standard deviation of like 10 points. Like obviously that's not what happened today by any stretch of the imagination, but
that's even good for someone without diabetes. That's insane,
right? Right, exactly. But that's the kind of thing you post. And if you're talking about like, how do we manage control? And if you're trying to like be one of the diabetes influencers out there, like that's cool. But the reality is a lot different. And, and kind of back on what I learned from the community is more just like that I can actually focus on things that I care about more than diabetes. And I don't have to care about diabetes that much to still have like decent control. And for me, that was huge, right? Because we are not diabetes. We have it. And it's just something we deal with. And then, hey, in the cycling world, for me, as an example, like that gave me insight into like the metabolic processes going on in my body, which directly relates to cycling, which kind of helped make it an advantage, right? But, obviously people aren't all cyclists, so that only applies to subset of us, but
a very small subset for sure.
But the kind of the concepts are similar, right? Like if you are able to focus on your goals despite diabetes and just kind of learn like, hey, well, to be better at my goal, I need to do X, Y, and Z with type 1 so that I can like make sure that, I'm as ready and prepared as possible. I think a recent thing I've been thinking about, right, is just like being a dad and a good partner to my wife, right? Like the best thing I can do is not have like wildly high blood sugars, which cause extra stress, extra, irritability, things like that, because like that's not the person I want to be. So like my goal is to be, a good family person. Great. And then I go, hey, what does what does that mean from the diabetes standpoint? Like, you know what? Dosing the carbs when I have like a high carb meal or something like that actually works out. It's not that hard to do, and it solves all of these other problems later on, you know. And you kind of get that still from these community conversations. Like, hey, like we're chatting. We've got our own small community here, right? Like between the two of us, right? But like we can have these conversations and kind of get these insights. And I don't know. I think it's there's really cool ways that you can apply type 1 to the goals that you have, and you learn how to do that by talking to others in a community that have also gone through something similar and taken a similar approach.
I agree. Yeah, while we both come from cycling backgrounds, that's like I can see that being a very easy misconception how we're solely focused on the athletic performance side of this, but I would beg to differ that the goal setting side here that you pointed out is the big overarching theme of this whole community that's type 1 diabetes focused, because everyone, like, I don't know of a single person in my life that doesn't have a goal, no matter how big or small that is. It can be like the goal can be cleaning the house, right? Like it can be super small, but obviously their generally goals are a little bit more reaching than that. And being able to apply the lessons you learn from type 1 diabetes and from the community to have a more well-rounded understanding of type 1 diabetes management can only help you excel further in those goals. And I think that applies to everyone for sure. For sure.
Yeah, definitely agreed. And notice I was looking off camera there because
Yeah.
as part of that goal of being a good dad, you know, I got a visitor.
Oh,
But yeah. No, I mean, I think it's really cool when you know communities get built with a group of people like those like-minded individuals, right? Like you don't have to join a community just because somebody has type 1, right? Like if the people in that group suck and you're not going to gain anything and it does nothing but stress you out, like that's not good. But my experience, at least, and you might have similar ones, like all of these communities I've been involved in, everybody kind of has like the goal to have a similar mentality of like, you know what? Yeah, we got it. Yeah, it's a reality. Cool. Sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it's cool. Sometimes it's none of the above. And then, you know, these communities are like goal focused, right? Granted, for us, probably they tend to focus around athletics just because, you know, that's what we've grown up being.
and it's easy for us for sure. No, but I would agree 100% on that as well. The community days and groups I've been a part of have definitely not all been cyclists, and I meet people all the time. Like typically, I tend to meet these people at bike races, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're all bike racers or have the same athletic ambitions that I do. But if they're still living with type 1 diabetes, they're able to apply this mindset of just general understanding and learning and building from community to achieve those goals as well. And I see that more often than I don't. And maybe that's just the energy we bring into the situation helps us attract like-minded people that way. But it's also, I think it just shows that like people with type 1 diabetes want to, like, yes, it sucks. There's some days that are not fun, but like we got this and we can do whatever we want with it with the right mindset, right?
Yeah, and I mean, excuse me. I think what's even, what am I trying to say here? Like, I think a lot of times, you know, I'll see somebody with like pump tubing on, or like I was telling you the other day, like actually one of the first people that joined our Discord group, I met sitting in a concert at Red Rocks. Like kind of just these random occurrences, right? Or I'll see somebody with an insulin pump and I'm like, oh yeah, you got diabetes. And what's cool about it is like it's kind of this shared like little secret of like, oh yeah, you gotta do this too. Cool. But what's really interesting to me is like every time those conversations pop up, diabetes is like this little badge of honor to a degree where we're like, it's a good like intro to the conversation, but we never focus on the actual diabetes part. It's like, oh yeah, so like, let me hear this other thing about you. Like, what do you do? What are you trying to, whatever the conversation may be. And it's like, oh, cool. Well, hey, how do you do the diabetes side with that? Diabetes is like this background task that we have to do all the time. And it's fine, right? And, we can always be like, yeah, we got this. But like, with these mentalities that kind of develop through these communities, is like, it almost doesn't even have to be like a, yeah, rah, rah, we got it. More of a like, oh yeah, I'll just do this thing and not really think about it. I don't know. That's kind of how I think of, perceive it. But
yeah, putting it as more of a checkbox type situation, and yeah, there are things you have to do, but getting those done in a timely manner so that everything stays in range then allows you to have way more brain capacity and way more free time not worrying about diabetes to pursue those goals for sure. And I think that's what we have both grown up doing. It's what we're trying to do with In Stride, and also what our Discord group is about as well, right?
yeah, and I mean, obviously, we need to pitch this a little bit before we sign off here. But
I was trying to segue into that smoothly, and we'll take it.
No, it's perfect. Except the problem is, I have like one other thing I really wanted to like point out in here. I know.
Go.
I'm killing it here today. No, so I was browsing one of the diabetes subreddits today, just kind of seeing some like posts, and this to me is one of the reasons I think developing our community as best we can, or promoting a community that somebody else has that like will do the same thing. As long as we have something big and broad that everybody can use. But one of the posts on there, I think, I'm paraphrasing it, so I'm probably getting it a little bit wrong, but there's something along the lines of like, what do you do to scratch your potato chip itch? And like the context behind it was like, what foods do you eat instead of potato chips because you have type 1 diabetes? And like, so many of the responses were, I eat potato chips.
Yeah.
But like, to me, it just shows like that there's, yeah, okay. And I started, after we had that conversation with Dr. Kutnik a while back, I was like, I've been doing a little bit lower carb meals in general overall. And like, it definitely helps keep my blood sugars a little more stable. And especially when I find good tasting things. But that's not like the most important thing, right? Like, and people need to understand, like, hey, just give yourself the insulin. Keep yourself the insulin correctly. If you go a little bit high, you go a little bit high, but you got to keep that mental game, strong. So it was a thing that it was in the back of my mind as we were talking about community. I was just like, this would be really important for somebody, I think, to be like, hey, I really want to eat a potato chips because I really love them, but I'm afraid to do it. It's like, great. Here's how we can talk to you about how we do it. And you go try something out, see what works for you. Maybe the first time, if you're really afraid, you just have a few potato chips and see what it does to your blood sugars. Oh, it does that? Okay, now you like trial and error, But yeah, I don't know, just the value of community. So like this knowledge of like, yeah, we can eat potato chips. I mean, I'm pretty much on an ice cream at least a few nights a week kick. And now that my kid has buckets of Halloween candy, that too, right? Like,
Yep. No, it's that time of year. But I'm the same way. Like, I've got an insane sweet tooth, and it's been with me since I can ever remember. So I just don't think it's going to go away. And I've had so many times at dinner parties or gatherings with people that don't have type 1 diabetes, like see me eat like a cookie or a piece of cake or something that has a lot of sugar in it. They're like, wait, you have diabetes. Wait, you're not supposed to eat that. And I was like, no, it's all good. I took my insulin already. Like, you can do those things if you plan accordingly. And
even if you didn't take your insulin already, and let's say your pump just shut off and you're like, well, I really want this cookie. You can still have
I could, but I probably wouldn't in that case. That's a pretty niche case, and which has happened before. And then I'm on the water and nothing diet until I can get back to insulin because I know I don't want to feel really, really bad or
yeah.
worse than I already
I just
do.
mean
But
I have done that before where it's like, well, my pump is expiring. Like I was out to dinner a while back and my pump expired. And I was like, well, I'm not gonna take my food to go. We're gonna leave here in an hour. It's like mistimed that. Well, okay.
it
Still gonna
happens.
eat. I'm still gonna eat my food.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, were my blood sugars high later? They absolutely were. Did I feel a little crappy? I absolutely did. But I got home, changed my pump, took a big dose of insulin, came right down, felt a lot better. Life was good. It was like,
Back to yeah.
like it's just these constant trade-offs. Like, am I, like basically I'm borrowing that good feeling from later to, to take this trade-off. It's like, is that cost worth it? You could decide on an as-needed basis. Like, if you're not really feeling ice cream, and then your pump goes out, and somebody brings you ice cream, you just say no. Nobody's stopping you from it. But if you're like, I am craving ice cream like a mofo, I really want this. This is like, looks awesome. You're like, I know I'm gonna be like $3.50 later, but I can get it down. Like, then you can do it.
It's the getting it down part that's the important one. It's not
Right.
not living out of range, which is I think a key part of what we're the way we've just approached diabetes. It's like it doesn't have to be perfect all the time. Like accidents happen, like things out of your control happen. Like pumps expire, pumps occlude. You run like the insulin's denatured. It's just not working. Whatever, what
Yeah.
have you, and you still want to eat. You still need dinner. You still want that cookie. Like sometimes you just got to do it. And obviously they then go through the protocol to like try and get you figure out what's going on to get back in range. But it's the not saying no approach because you have diabetes is that's only been made more paramount by being a part of groups and communities that I've been a part of. And that's what I want to share with the world. And I think what you do too, right?
Yeah. And I'd say not even necessarily not saying no, but knowing that it's okay to say no
Yeah.
and when you don't have to care
Yeah.
to say no. Like, I don't know. I agree. I just wanted to expand on that a little bit because it's like, sometimes it's like, hey, you need to do this thing because you have diabetes. Like, no, I actually don't. I'm just let me go do my own thing.
Semantics are important, but yeah.
So 17 steps back here, you made a really good segue into our Discord community. So I'm going to pretend that I didn't go on a huge ramble after that and say, whoa, wait, what? Discord community? That sounds awesome. What is this thing, Justin?
That's a good question. It's so we have officially launched the In Stride T1D Discord channel, which we are going to link on our website as when this episode released. There will be a link on our website, probably a tab or something that makes it easy to get into. But it's a group of us, like-minded, talking about anything and everything type 1 diabetes related, whether it's technology we're using, technology we love, technology we hate, future tech we want, for both Alex and I would assume a couple other people, athletic features and feats and like fueling strategies, type 1 diabetes management strategies in there, and really just building up a group of people that are open-minded about type 1 diabetes and looking to learn from other people living with type 1 diabetes and sharing their own experiences as well. And that's our Discord group.
Yeah, and even to expand a little bit, it doesn't only have to be, it's not only for people with type 1. We have a section there just for like family members and things like that because, at the end of the day, our family and close friends, the ones that we interact with all the time, that's our own, niche communities. So it's important for everybody else around us to know, like, hey, you know what? This is what's possible. And I think it's awesome when my friends are like, well, back in time, right? They're like, hey, stop complaining about diabetes. Just figure it out and, go do the thing that you want to go do, right? Like basically anybody that wants to join can join. Pretty much the only rules are you got to be encouraging, got to be informative, got to ask questions, and you got to be, engaged.
Positive vibes only. Yeah, I mean that was kind of cliche, but yeah, I mean like that's the goal of this is to like just expand both Alex and my understanding of type 1 diabetes, but everyone else's as well, whether they are living with type 1 diabetes, know someone that's living with type 1 diabetes, they're a partner of someone that has type 1 diabetes, or a caregiver for type 1 diabetes in general. It's the more we all know, the better life for everyone with type 1 diabetes can be, and that's huge. I want to do that.
As you were saying, positive vibes only. I was just thinking we should add one channel that's like the venting station.
All right, fair. Yeah, but it's like limited to like one post a week or something. We gotta
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like yeah, it's kind of interesting when people have things that they want to be upset about. Like it's very valid to be upset.
Definitely.
But how can we turn it into a learning experience?
Yeah, the spin we're all about the spin. That's I like that.
Okay, we don't actually have a venting room, but
Yet.
Maybe we will. You know what? Let us know.
Yeah, let us know. We can add it very easily. But yeah, we'll see. All right.
Well, so that's all we got. So we'll make sure to put that link in the description of all these posts wherever you are finding this.
Check our website. Yeah. It'll be on there as well.
Yep, it'll be on the website, and feel free to join the conversation. We're just getting it going, so it's a little bit of a ghost town right now, but there's already been a lot of good discussion in just a couple of days. So
yeah, even if it is just Alex and I.
No, we in there.
Yeah, true. No, I'm joking.
Quickly.
Yeah, it's good, but it's going the right way. That's what we want to see. All right, blood sugars, and then we call it.
Oh yeah, blood sugars.
I am 101 straight arrow across.
You've definitely got me beat. But as we talked about at the beginning, my blood sugars were low. I was eating dinner. Not too terribly actually.
That's actually not that. That's not that bad. Nice.
So you can see my graph from earlier though, where my pump went bad last night.
Happens.
That was a crusher. All right. Well, Justin, 2 weeks in a row, diabetes champion.
Yes, I'll take it.
Also, compared to me, definitely cycling champion, blonde hair champion. Fucking
dang! Just keep going. I'm here for it.
What else? I don't know what else.
That's it. My ego's too big already, so we can call it. All right. Thanks for listening. See y'all at the next one.